Hey there folks, this is Campfire Stories. Today, I'm gonna share 3 tales that a stranger sent my way via email. So the first story goes by the name Funny Pal. It was back in '09, a crisp autumn day, and I was busy surfing the web when my buddy Mike gave me a ring. He suggested we check out the abandoned mental hospital on the outskirts of town. One of our favorite pastimes. We agreed to meet up there at 7 p.m. As the evening approached, I left my computer behind and headed to the location. When I got there, I met up with Mike. Now, this building had been standing for ages, and let me tell you, it had an eerie vibe both inside and out. We chatted for a bit, and then decided to explore as a scary building. Eventually, we made our way up to the roof. By that time, I couldn't help but notice that Mike was acting strangely. Usually, he's all energetic and cheerful, but that night, he was unusually quiet and contemplative, as if he had something heavy on his mind. As we started to make our way back down, my phone rang.
Hello? Hello?
A voice that sounded like Mike's came through the speakers.
Sorry, Frank. I was with my mom on some errands and lost track of time. I won't be able to make it.
I turned to my buddy, bewildered. Mike, who was standing right next to me, gave me a sly grin. His face was contorted with a smile that was downright unsettling. Whatever it wasn't Mike. It was something so horrifying that my memory blocked it out. All I can recall is that this creature uttered a single word in a thin, squeaky voice.
Run.
I don't even remember how I made it back home, but there I was, locked in my room, crying. To this day, I still can't fathom what that thing was. But we move on, and the second story for today is called Abandoned Morgue. On Thursday evening, I was sitting in a chair watching TV when my phone rang. It was a friend of mine with whom we were engaged in urban photography. That is, we took photographs of various creepy places and posted them on the website. I picked up the phone.
Hey Mike, it's Alex. I found the perfect spot for our photo hunt.
What kind of place is it? I asked.
This is an old, long-abandoned morgue. I found information about him in a newspaper from 35 years ago. It is located not far from us. Cool, right? Call the others tomorrow and we'll go.
I agreed and hung up, but after that I grabbed the camera, put it in an old backpack, and went to bed. The next day at 9 p.m. we headed to the morgue in a group of 4. Alex, Jacob, me, and Ethan. We arrived at the scene, a collapsing building in the forest, not far from the city. We started exploring the ruins in search of new chilling footage for our site. At some point I stepped on a rusty chain and called the guys. We cleared away the pile of debris blocking the chains and saw the entrance to the basement. The front door was wrapped in rusty chains. Alex grabbed a piece of reinforcement lying nearby, and with our joint efforts we broke the chains holding the door closed. A dark basement lay before us. If I was alone, I would never have dared to go inside. But with friends it didn't seem so scary. We turned on our flashlights and went down. Inside we were faced with old, damp, moldy walls, and the air was heavy. The walls were sticky, and we were overcome with discomfort. At the same time, there was a strange feeling of excitement and trepidation. Our first eerie discovery was an old wheelchair, hanging from a wire, covered in mold and what looked like blood on the seat. Iron trays and dirty bandages, as well as syringes and other medical equipment, were scattered around. We had been exploring the abandoned morgue for more than 15 minutes when a terrifying, piercing sound was heard from deep in the basement. The sound was so terrifying that we immediately rushed to the exit. A person could not make such a cry, and we had no desire to meet a creature making such sounds. While running away, we heard the steps of a creature and were not going to find out what it was. When we finally reached the exit, we barricaded the basement door with bricks and debris. We didn't want what we heard to get out. Tired, dirty, and scared, we returned to the city. We didn't even manage to take normal photos, but this terrible adventure will forever remain in our memory. And now, the last story for today that was sent to me is called To Friends. We often had sleepovers with the girls when we were about 8 or 9 years old, and back then, we were afraid of every random noise, creak, or any other sound, common fears. So one night we were having a sleepover at Lizzie's, who was the leader of our group. In her house, there was an old wooden staircase in the hallway. You probably know the kind. Anyway, we agreed to meet at her place at 8 in the evening. We arrived, had dinner. Lizzie's parents didn't bother us. They had gone to visit someone after dinner. We went to Lizzie's room, sat on the bed, and started thinking about what to do. Suddenly, Katie suggested, "Why don't we try summoning a spirit or something like that?" Of course. We all agreed, so we started with summoning the Lady of Spades. And as usual, we decided to start with something simple. Then we tried Matizin and Slavstina. Lizzie had a passion for dolls, and she received various little friends for every birthday. We summoned spirits, but it never occurred to us that we could send them back to another world. We joked and scared each other with scary stories, then went to sleep. Everyone fell asleep quickly, but I tossed and turned and couldn't sleep. It felt like someone was watching me. I looked at the toys on the shelf, and it seemed like they were all looking at me, waiting for me to fall asleep so they could attack. But it was just my wild imagination. I closed my eyes and finally fell asleep. At first, I had some dream, and suddenly I heard strange sounds. I thought it was the result of my half-asleep state, but the sound repeated, and I got really scared. Goosebumps ran over my skin. It seemed like something soft was crawling on my legs. I quickly shut my eyes tightly. When I mustered the courage to open them again, I heard a raspy sound. It was Vicky struggling to breathe. There was something small sitting on her, reaching into her throat. I was overcome with horror. I jumped out of bed and ran in panic to the kitchen. I slipped and hit my head. I lost consciousness in the morning. I woke up at home next to my mom and the police. I asked what happened that night, and they told me. When Lizzie's parents came home, they found me in the kitchen with a bleeding forehead, unconscious. They immediately called my parents. When Lizzie's parents entered the room, they were terrified. Everything was in disarray. There was blood on the walls, and Vicky, Katie, and Lizzie were lying on the bed with holes in their throats and no tongues. During the investigation, they found stuffing from stuffed animals in their stomachs. Lizzie had buttons for eyes, and Katie had a creepy smile sewn on. Vicky had stitches on her hands. I still thank my lucky stars that I didn't stay in that cursed room. My parents brought me home, and now, dear listeners, I want to play you an audio recording.
Venite clamamera et radius boni aedas, bonis anubis fabeosis, felicitaretibant.
Given it's probably Latin, a spell that summons spirits who, according to legend, are supposed to inhabit a form resembling that of a human or an animal. Do you still have any toys? Sweet dreams, send me your stories, which you've either experienced yourself or simply heard from somewhere, to the email address you see on the screen. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and see you soon.